Alright, time to move the plucker tracks. So these are going to the Elstar field now. And we're gonna do the first pick of Elstar for this season. That already picked a few bins for our own sales. But now we really start going at full swing, as we still have a lot to go. Now I do want to get the roof in for the road, so we don't hit any trees with it. That's nice and narrow. These apples have colored nicely, so it looks a lot more red here as it did before. And it's amazing to see this amount of apples in this field, as we've been having production issues basically the last 5 years in this field. We had, I think, 2 or 3 years with really bad cork. And bad cork just comes from not having enough production. Then the apples grow too fast and you get cork. So now we really have a lot of apples, and I guess it's also going to fix the cork issue. So I hope we don't have cork here. Unfortunately, that's something you only find out once you're going, and you cannot really see it. Well, you can pick some, but you don't know what it is. You only know what it is until you start harvesting. It's from top to bottom nicely balanced, and there's basically apples everywhere, but it's not overcrowded, so they are not pushing each other off, and they still have enough space. There's enough apples which still need to grow. That's why we need at least 2 picks on this field, maybe even a third one, who knows. If I look at the color, it's gonna be two picks, because the color is amazing actually. And amazing coloring happens with good weather, but not too hot, because if it gets too hot, the outside colors too much and you need to start picking them early, which means the inside has not colored. This one looks beautiful. Backside is already coloring a little bit yellow, so this one is ripe. So they already finished picking this field for the first pick, and we got some really nice apples out of this. We had no cork at all, which is like, I think, the first year in all these years that we don't have that issue. So that's absolutely brilliant, because we just hate the fact that this one turns out with cork every year. Just not this year, and this year we could use it a lot. We still have a nice second pick left. By the looks at this moment, there will not be a third pick, as most of the apples are coloring already. I think over a week we will be picking the rest of these. As we can see, we still have a lot of colored apples. The fact that they already got colored today means that they can already be picked next week. Now, I'm not here this week during harvest, so I don't have a lot of video material of the first pick, but that's just because I'm busy doing other things at this moment. But that doesn't matter, as I still got plenty of harvest to film. As you can see, they also did some summer pruning, so now these apples are getting way more in the light, and that makes them color even better. So it's really good to do this kind of work, as it opens up the tree to let the other apples color, and that's really important because we need some color on every apple. You can clearly see in this field we have some trouble trees. This one here, for example, doesn't carry too much apples, but still the apples stay small. That means it doesn't have a lot of power to grow. So that's really a bummer to have trees like that. But this field is very wet, and the trees often took damage in the past. Here we got another one, but this one actually has a lot of apples, but still it doesn't have the power like its neighbor, because this one got way bigger apples, but looks like the same amount than that tree. This is one of the fields that we blossomed in hardly with GPS, so this one was very alternating, and as you can see now, it has a really even bearing. Now this is another weak tree here. You can see it has a lot of growth, but the apples they stay small and they don't color that well, but it's having a lot of growth at this moment, so something's going on with this tree, while its neighbor is doing perfect, and it's also loaded. And this one is also perfect, and it's also loaded. And we have a few of these trees in this orchard, so that's kind of a weird thing this year. You can see on the overside there's another 2 there, while all the others are perfectly fine. Now it's beautiful to see this orchard hanging like it is for the whole orchard, as we have never had a full orchard like this one here. It has always been alternating with good zones and bad zones, and now we only have good zones. So blossom tinning with prescription map really did its work here, as this field had a very alternating map. So the sprayer was basically constantly turning on and off. And this is the result of it. It's just full. It's perfect. We are now at our center field. This is the one we're gonna pick right now, because we can only pick this one. The front field is riper, but they are still doing the pipe work up front, so it means we cannot even turn in the rows. That's an issue, so the guys they really need to hurry up so we can get in there in 2 days, because we want to pick these apples as they are ripe. Now these apples, a lot of them already got a nice color, as you can see, but there's also a big load which doesn't have the color that we want. Only the ones in the tops and the ones on the outside have a nice color. So we're gonna pick them very selectively. That means we have a low yield for the first pick, but that doesn't matter. We just rather get the apples out in a good way, and then we can do a nice second pick with a lot more color. That is perfectly fine. Now you can see this field also got a really nice even yield. This field has been alternating for the past 8 years. As 8 years ago we got hailed out completely, so our whole harvest was just destroyed. It was all going for apple juice or not even picked at all. And ever since then we are having high alternation problems with this field. Now we did the blossom tinning with the tunnel sprayer last spring according to a prescription map, and now we got a pretty even load. I mean, this is a low yielding tree for this season. It has, I would estimate about 50 to 60 apples, while on the opposite side we have trees with definitely over 100 apples, and that's perfectly for an Elstar tree. So that's the way we like to see it, and hopefully they are not overproducing this year, so they will come back next year with a nice yield again. We did blossom tin the high blossoming trees very aggressively, so way more aggressive than we ever would, but it also allowed us to have almost no hand labor, as I think we had 2 people for about 2 weeks going through the orchard. So that's all the 10 hectares to get rid of too much apples and also bad apples, because we did get some hail in some fields this year. So we have thrown that out very early in the season, and that way we now got a very nice amount of apples hanging and a very decent quality of apples. And that's what it's all about. This looks beautiful. The apples are not too ripe and they still all have enough color, and that's what we like. These go into storage for a very long time, so they should absolutely not be ripe, otherwise they will rot away in the cool house. But this looks just perfect. That's a beautiful load of apples.
Soll es auch um die Freilassung von israelischen Geiseln. Israel und die Terrorgruppe Hamas verhandeln nicht direkt miteinander. Die USA kann besichtigt werden. Das war WDR aktuell. In den kommenden Stunden steigen die Temperaturen auf hochsommerliche Höchsttemperaturen. Der Drohne soll 1968 ermordeten früheren US-Justizminister Kennedy erklärte, er werde den Republikanern Begleitet von Sturmböen, möglicherweise auch von Hagel und Starkregen, gegen Mitternacht es sogar 50 bedeuten.
Early morning golden light, fields of green and red in sight. Pluck or track rolls steady still. First pick, harvesting that thrill. Elstar apples ripe to hold, filling baskets, fruits of gold. Rows of trees in autumn's grace, smiles on every sun-kissed face. Apples in the sunlight shine, harvest time, we're feeling fine. Pluck or track, it leads the way, bringing joy to every day. Laughter echoes through the air, working hard but we don't care. Nature's bounty in our hands, sharing dreams across the lands. From the branches to the ground, Elstar sweetness we've all found. Every bite a piece of cheer, harvest moments crystal clear. Oh, apples in the sunlight shine, harvest time, we're feeling fine. Pluck or track, it leads the way, bringing joy to every day.
Another nice load of apples to bring home. So let's get the tractor started and bring these home. This tractor really needs to cool down when you just have to cool this hard. So you can see what the temperature gauge is doing. It's getting a lot of hot coolant besides the sensor. So we let it sit for a minute and then turn it off. Today we moved the machines to the front field. Unfortunately, I wasn't here today, but Dad did it, and we still have some apples hanging, so that's looking good for a second pick. So yeah, yield on this field is looking quite nice. Apples have colored really nice red here, so they are just very dark red, and that's lovely to see. I mean, this one has definitely 80% of color, and that's what's still containing the hardness, so these apples still are hard, and that's important. Other years they often get baked off. This year it wasn't that hot, and that's really good for the apples, so that way we get nice Dutch and hard apples. Meanwhile, Dad has also been working on the Zari, so the guys will need to pick the Zari in this field as well, as we have 6 rows of Zari here. It's a summer apple and they are very ripe, so they need to be picked, but in the bin they look marvelous. They have a really nice color. Other years we have to pick them a lot more green because we sell them faster than we can pick them, but this year we had a lot of varieties already early ripe. That means this year the Zari could also come to taste better, and we can actually store them in Ulu again and sell them throughout the year. And it's good to have a balance over the year. That way we can offer our customers a lot of varieties over the year, and customers can choose whatever they like.